Hey everyone, Amber here, and thank you so much for joining us on Yoga How To. We will be talking today about one of the most important tools that has helped me in my own life off of the yoga mat. So away from meditation, breath work. I teach this workshop in our teacher training, and it is something that students come back to me again and again and again over the years telling me how effective and helpful this is for them. So it's Sankalpa, and we'll be talking about what it is, why we use it in yoga, and then I'll give you a quick and dirty, a quick exercise so that you can write one without a lot of thought and just get to the practice, because that's what matters here. You can think of it as your personal mission statement, the statement that expresses how you are here in your own special way to uphold the highest good. It's said in order to elicit an expansive state like joy or creativity, compassion, peace, love, enthusiasm, right? So it's really meant to elicit a different state within us, and it's used to counteract painful thoughts and states. So it's really something that we can use as a touchstone in all circumstances. It can imbue the most mundane things with more meaning, and it can also just help us get through hard times, as well as bring more joy, more presence to the great times as well. On the mat, we do these practices that help slow down our minds, and that then helps us off the mat so that we can choose more helpful movements of the mind. And when I say mind, I mean mind stuff. It's the whole thing. It's the thoughts, it's the feelings, it's the identity we think we are, the personality, it's our likes and dislikes. And the movements of this mind stuff, called the vrittis, these so often they swirl around and they sweep us away before we even know what's happened, and then we've reacted in the world and created really painful results for ourselves. We get results we don't want in life because we just get swept away by these vrittis, these emotional reactions, these thought patterns, these beliefs, these identifications before we even know what's happened. So the yoga slows us down enough so we create a little gap so we can choose other vrittis, other movements of the mind. The more we do this, the more we really generate results that we want. The more we can say, no, I don't want to go down that path, I want to go down this path. The more we start to empower ourselves. When we're not experiencing things we want, those hard things, we also make important choices in those moments. So the turning of the vrittis, choosing different vrittis, it's a practice in the Yoga Sutras that is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. And it's really about changing the contents of our mind. So Sankalpa, it is a chosen vritti of the mind. We put it in front of vrittis that are causing us harm in our lives. And it can be emotional harm, it can be by creating painful choices in life that bring reasonable results that create more suffering, and we get caught in these loops and these patterns. So the Sankalpa we put in front of, it is a vritti, it's a movement of the mind, and we put it in front of harmful ones. It's almost like a little speed bump, right? So we get caught in these patterns of how we're living and who we are, and this Sankalpa can slow it down a little. At the same time, it develops, it's a vritti, so it develops its own momentum, and it can become a pattern of the mind. So over time, the more we use our Sankalpa, the more we redirect our vrittis, the more we do Pratipaksha Bhavana, the more we are actually creating a state of mind that we want, one that is helpful, one that isn't going to get us into as much trouble. So that is really one of the goals with Sankalpa and why we do it. Think about How many thoughts do you have in a day? Just thinking about it, you're adding more thoughts, right? But it's millions. And which ones actually filter through and become something that drives us into action in the world? Well, we of course have these ones that are habitual, but any thought that's really going to be powerful in our mind against all the other thoughts, it's supercharged with emotion. And that is why we want to create a vritti, a movement of the mind, with our sankalpa that is supercharged with emotion. So when we put it in front of the harmful one, the thought, emotion, which by the way becomes action and behavior in life, we want to counter that thought, emotion, that vritti, that movement of the mind that hurts and that creates harm, with a powerful thought, emotion, vritti, movement of the mind, that creates good in the world. And that's by connecting it with an expansive state of being. Like I mentioned before, it might be joy, it might be creativity. It's that state where you're just like fully alive and empowered and just full of love and compassion, right? The words don't matter as much. So when people get too precious about the words, they tend to get really off track. And that's why I like to do these exercises, so that we find words that are good enough. What's more important is, can you use these words to tap into a higher, more expansive state of being? That's what matters. The first thing you want to do is come up with a list of words that spark joy in you, right? It's like that Marie Kondo thing when she's talking about getting rid of stuff. You just keep the stuff that sparks joy. I have included a word list, and it's a pretty good list. I use this with our teacher trainees, and I would suggest you use it the same way. Set a timer for 5 minutes, either print it out in advance so you can write on it, or just have it to the side and you can write words. But you're going to narrow it down to 25 words. And you've only got 5 minutes, so you cannot be too analytical. You can't hold on to them too tightly. You've got to kill your darlings. From 25, go down to about 10 or 15, whittle it down to 3 to 5 words. That is what you want to do, and it's really going to be helpful. Then you just take them and you write them into a sentence, a short little sentence. If you get too poetic, it can be hard to say in the moment when you really need it. It can be as simple as, I am blank, blank, and blank. So if your 3 words are peace, creativity, and love, it can be, I am peace, creativity, and love. It could be by blank and blank, I. So something you do in the world. So maybe by or with love and warmth, I inspire compassion and belonging in others. Maybe that's your thing. It's just short, and what it does is it taps into something in you that when you get in that space, it feels like the real you or the best you. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be doing another video soon that helps you to distinguish between a Western affirmation versus a sankalpa, so that you make sure you really are writing a true sankalpa. And then we'll do another video on just how to really use your sankalpa so that you can get the most out of it and make it a living part of your life that really helps you. That's not just a flowery sentence that you say a couple times and then forget about, but that you really incorporate into life. Take a minute. I'd love to know what your sankalpa is or your words. So please post those below, comment, and remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Thanks so much, everyone.